Another thing that I think Cardinals fans are really, thinking about and pondering and debating is what to do with the third overall pick. Right.
Yep.
And this is the big question. Do you sit there at 3 and, there's good chance Will Anderson's going to be available based on how things have lined up. It's not a certainty, but likely he will be there. So do you take the quote unquote generational talent, right, at edge rusher, or do you trade back and get a haul, from a team that is looking to move up and get that third quarterback if that materializes as an opportunity? What are your thoughts based on what the data tell us and the best practices of roster building? What would be your take on the most prudent way to approach that third overall pick?
Yeah, and having the 34th pick and also 2 picks in the third round, on one end, I just talked about premium positions, right? And it doesn't get more premium other than quarterback than to go with Will Anderson at 3 as an edge player. But the fact is that third pick is going to have less utility to the Cardinals than it is going to have to a team like Detroit or Las Vegas, or a team that's going to try to move up and get a quarterback and get that third guy. And so it's almost always, I'm actually finishing a book right now where I talked about the Jets trading up to 3 for Sam Darnold and giving, I think it was 37, 49 and a future 2 as well as 6 to the Colts. And like that pick, that trade was an ultimate winner, even though Darnold kind of like actually lived up. He didn't live up to the pick, but Darnold wasn't as big of a disaster statistically as maybe it looked. And yet the Colts just ripped their eyes out because it's just, there's so much value inherent in getting those extra picks and getting extra bites at the apple that, as long as you're not kind of doing what the Vikings did last year, which is moving back from 12 to 32, right? That takes you kind of out of that premium position place and puts you into the drafting safeties place that they ended up with Lewis Cine. Like, I think you're fine, right? So if you can move, Detroit has 6, you move back to 6, you're probably still going to get a Jalen Carter, or you might even get Will Anderson, frankly, the way things work out. You're going to get, or Tyree Wilson, the edge player from Texas Tech, who a lot of people like there's options there. And the data is unequivocal. Like, if you don't need a quarterback, you should be trying to trade out of that pick. And for example, like we estimated at Sumer that the Bears got 142 million of value when they traded back from 1 to 9. It's just overwhelming. And if they deemed that they didn't need a quarterback, so it ended up working out. And you almost can't blame the Panthers for doing it either, because they need a quarterback. The Cardinals here, have already bought into Murray. It's unfortunate he got injured, especially this year where he's cheap. But use that advantage and get more players.
I'm of the same mind, but a lot of fans are going to hear that and still not care. And fans are going to fan, as I like to say, but there's some good edge rusher. I love BJ Ojulari as maybe someone you get in the second round, right? And then if you trade back and maybe you get Van Ness or someone like that, if you can get 3 or 4 starters out of that pick, they might not be Will Anderson, but you can still get more value, as you've talked about.